And you're welcome. It's time for the dailies. We do this every single morning, bring you the headlines so you know exactly what to pick when you get out there. I've got Mary here with me. Mary, are you done with your matutinal, what's it going?
I don't know what you're talking about, but this headline is enough to get you...
Oh, you want to... Well, go ahead. Let's begin with you, please.
Yes, we have somebody who is really busy already. The big headline on the Punch newspaper this morning says, federal government may revoke land allocations, demolish 6,000 buildings, slums. Now, illegal buildings must go down. Wike tells ministers, ambassadors, others. Slums in Nyanya, Akpo, Idu, 27 others may be affected. Residents beg minister.
Don't you just like the way he hit the ground running?
I feel like he already knew the role he was going to be given, and he started working like 6 months ago.
Exactly, perhaps.
As he's resuming at work yesterday. I don't know whether you saw.
I saw the
moment I saw it, I said somebody's back in town.
It makes you wonder, however, if you're going to do that to people and their investments, things that they've spent years building and all of that, are there basic, what do you call them? Not palliatives. No. Are there measures you put in place to help them through this process? So before such
happens, there would have been warnings, of course, and then there's also that thing of you're told to do due diligence.
Yeah, when you
but the people you want to meet, the moment you sort them out, sometimes they cut corners for you, and so sometimes one needs to look into the future when one is taking certain decisions and.
That's a hard fact, quite frankly. It sounds very painful.
Tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so still on the Punch newspaper, we have Tinubu warns ministers against ethnic politics, appointees unveil agenda. Chibok girl says, I want to reunite with my Boko Haram husband.
Oh, wow.
Here we also have Ondo teenager confesses taking part in over 40 robberies. Navy arrests 10 oil thieves with over 100 jerry cans. Up here, we have federal government may raise $17 billion from oil asset sale, JP Morgan says. Government to revive Ajaokuta steel. That steel work has been in the state of revival for over 30 years.
So the issue with the Ajaokuta project is that I think it was put together during, it was a partnership with the Russians. Now, the fuel that you use to run Ajaokuta, you can only get from Russia.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's why it's been that way. I was going to go back and talk about the Chibok girl who wants to reunite with her Boko Haram husband. Yeah. It begs the question, how much mental rehabilitation these girls were given after they were rescued. Yeah. Because what she's going through is actually a mental issue. It's called Stockholm Syndrome, where you begin to have emotions for your captor. And that's exactly what's going on here. So that question needs to be raised. There needs to be consideration for not just her, but all the girls who went through that ordeal. But may I move on to the Guardian newspaper now? Now, we've got this headline here. Operators unsettled over Tinubu's hold on Petroleum Ministry, not knowing who exactly is going to be in charge. There are talks about perhaps maybe he being the minister, just like the previous president was. We've got a chart here of the 2022 crude oil exports and where Nigeria and other countries stand. At the bottom of which we have Wike to step on toes as Keyamo, Umahi, others unveil vision for ministry. Serve Nigeria, not regions or states. Tinubu charges new ministers, and Nigeria's inflation to hit 28% by year end, JP Morgan projects. Now, that would be a very quick rise. Not that it wasn't going to get there, but this would be a very sharp rise in inflation. INEC and 28%. That's almost 30%. INEC and disturbing threats to November polls. And at the top of the Guardian, I think I carried that one already. So that's all the headlines for the Guardian newspaper, in case you're thinking of picking one of them up. What do you have there, Mary?
Okay, so here I have the Daily Times, and it says, I'll step on toes, demolish buildings, no matter who owns them, Wike vows. Here we also have job scammers dupe victims of 765 million in Delta, 5 nabbed. Down here we have Tinubu swears in ministers, Iyako loses at Adamawa election tribunal, armed robbers kill retired cop and his wife, increase allowances to your wives. That's coming from the Assistant Inspector General of Police. Interesting, that one. And then we have up here Deputy Speaker floats novel idea on roads development in Nigeria. And finally, subsidy removal. Bielsa pays wage award to workers. Okay, so I believe the big one here has to do with job scammers duping victims of 765 million. Delta. And I find that really painful. Really, really painful. Someone was sharing with me just last week of how somebody reached out to her and said, I have a PS4 to sell. Please, can you help me put it on your status and all? So she did. Only for the guy to dupe the person she got of 90,000 naira in this economy.
So we did talk about this from before. These kinds of crimes will be on the rise, especially when you prey on people's, what do you call it now? Everybody out there wants a job.
Everybody wants a
job. So they'll rush
Everybody has needs.
Exactly.
And some people have been saving so hard for different things. You can't just scam them of their money. That's theft. That's evil.
Well,
in a situation like this, somebody is looking for a job. Maybe you've given the person assurances, probably even given, you know, that belief that there's no doubt about it. So the person goes to take a loan. How do you expect somebody who is jobless to pay back that loan?
Well, that's you empathizing. The person who's perpetrating doesn't even care.
Yeah. It's sad.
Let's move on now. I think this will be our final paper for today. The Daily Trust newspaper has these headlines. Stakeholders set agenda as ministers assume office. Illegal houses will go down. We talked about this. Wike once again. I won't lie to defend government, says Idris. I'll hold you responsible, says Tinubu, talking to the ministers. I'll pursue rule of law, Fagbemi says, and decent employment underway, says Lalong. At the top, real quick, JP Morgan puts Nigeria's FX reserves at $3.7 billion, lower than we thought, and governorship poll tension in Kano as tribunal reserves judgment. Niger crisis, 2 million children need humanitarian aid, say UNICEF, and that is where you will get the heart of people, because in times like these, it's actually the children that actually suffer more.
Sadly, and that's what's
very sad.
Also informed our conversation just earlier. Because at the end of it all, when two elephants, you know, are having a tug of war, it's the grass that suffers. It's the children who suffer at the end of the day.
Well, very unfortunate. Those are the headlines for today. If you pick up any of these and you want to share your opinion, we'd love to read from you. Use the hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC across social media platforms. Let's move on now to our next segment. Of course, we all look forward to this every single day. The kitchen is always such a beautiful experience, and MM is in it today. MM, who do we have today and what are we having?